Richie Woodall, the Olympic light middleweight bronze medalist and one of British boxing's brightest prospects, is aiming for his 8th successive professional win. Fight night comes from Alfreton Leisure Centre in Derbyshire, where Woodall faces Sheffield's Burton as he continues his successful climb up the professional ladder. Hello again, yes, an interesting contest in prospect for 23-year-old Woodall. The outstanding achievement in his boxing career so far is undoubtedly that Olympic Games performance in Seoul in 1988. Woodall reached the semi-finals there, but he lost to the outstanding boxer of the competition, American Roy Jones. But the Telford fighter still picked up the bronze medal, of course, a fine achievement for the then 20-year-old. Well, Jim, 7 wins on the trot, he's unbeaten, but he's been brought along very slowly in his professional career. Yeah, well, Woodall is a difficult fellow to manage. You can't put him on the London shows and slip him in, you know, under the big headings and slip him in quietly. He's topping bills, but there's still some adjustments that are needed in his equipment and the way he goes about business, so you can't really overstretch him yet. You have to give him good learning fights. You don't want to overstretch him, and it's difficult if you're topping bills with a fighter like that. But tonight, I think they put up a fair test with him. You say fair test, but in fact he's going to have a 4 inches advantage in reach. He's 6'2". I mean, that's going to be 4 inches difference is a lot. Yeah, but it's still a decent opponent, and quite often opponents, as we see with Mike Tyson, a height difference doesn't have to be a drawback. So, a good test for him? Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I think it's a fair match. 7 fights, it's only his 8th. It's a fair match. OK, well, we can have a look at it now because it's scheduled for 8 rounds. Richie Woodall against the testing Burton. Your commentary team as ever, Reg Guttridge and Jim Watt. But first of all, let's hear from our regular master of ceremonies, Vince Miller.
Gentlemen, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the main event of the evening. A middleweight contest of 8 rounds, 3 minutes each round, sponsored by Elite Occasions. Presenting in the blue corner from Sheffield, Burton. And in the red corner from Telford, Richie Woodall. At the official weigh-in at 1 o'clock, Burton scaled 11 stone 3 3/4 pounds, Woodall 11 stone 4.5 pounds. Your officials appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control are as follows: your chief steward in charge, Charles Giles, your timekeeper, Mr. Ray Bicknell, and your referee from Stafford, Mr. Jim Pridding. This is the main event of the evening.
So referee Jim Pridding of Stafford there, and not much difference in the heights. I'm surprised at that, but we'll find there will be. 5'10" Burton, but 6'2" Woodall, which is big for a middleweight. That is gone up from light middles from the amateur ranks now to full middleweight. 11'4.5", 11'6" full middleweight, and Burton is 11'3 3/4", which is a lighter weight than he's been in recent fights. So that's hopefully a good sign. And a couple of old wise owls and managers here, because Woodall has now joined the Mickey Duff camp, and Burton, of course, is his friend Ingle of Sheffield. Did so well in the amateur ring, Richie Woodall of Telford, and a bit unlucky really to draw the American Roy Jones. And he could have gone on to win, who knows, the Seoul Olympics, but for Jones, who was robbed of the decision in the final. So he really lost to the gold medalist in effect. So 6 stoppages and 7 wins, Woodall. But didn't look that bright last time out. Disappointed against Colin Fitters of Birmingham. That is at Telford, and went to 8 rounds points. But certainly Brendan Ingle turns his fellows out in strong style. There's a little gutsy camp coming out of the Ingles of Sheffield. Nicely built middleweight, isn't he, Woodall, Jim?
Yeah, and I like the way there's a sharpness about Woodall's work right from the opening bell. You know, he's ready to get down to work, and already I can see him stepping to the side as Burton tries to move along the ropes just to cut the ring off and move him back in the opposite direction. I can see he's learning a few of the tricks, and his punches are being thrown sharply straight from the off.
Well, rather appropriate really. It's an elite occasion, isn't it, the way he boxes, and they're the sponsors of the show, Hospitality Company.
See, I like the way he's moving to the side as Burton goes along the ropes. He's just keeping him on those ropes. He's not following them round, he's stepping across.
Feeling with some hard nuts, Jim Burton. He went 10 rounds with John Ashton for area championship. He's Chesterfield born, but boxes out of Sheffield.
I think he's going to have trouble coping with the sharpness of Woodall. I mean, those, for a first round, Reg, these are perfect punches going home. I think he must have warmed up well in the dressing room.
Either that or he got an ear bashing from Mickey Duff, Jim, and you know a bit about that, I think. And your old manager Terry Lawless is watching this from ringside as well. He's an interested spectator.
Well, Burton trying to knock him out of his rhythm, doing not a bad job of it either. Burton's going to have to lead off here. He can't afford to allow Woodall to dictate things. He's going to have to lead off himself.
So countdown then to the end of the opening round of this scheduled 8 at middleweight. 11-4.5 Woodall, 11-3 3/4 Burton.
I think the referee's going to have a problem keeping him out of the way here, Reg.
And there's the fight record then of Richie Woodall. We won't put the amateur one up because there were so many things that he won and was in and really boxed well. Frank Black from London in the corner. He used to work with the Lawless camp, including Bruno and company. And of course with you, Jim, going back to Frank Black days. Now then, let's look at this again.
A good start from Woodall. Burton started coming back into things in the last 20 seconds of the round. But he was really pinned on the end of those long punches for most of the opening round. Good positive start from Woodall.
Brendan Ingle. There he is. He always given them the old boxing lessons. He's such an enthusiast, Brendan.
Seconds out. Round 2.
The gum shield back, and we're out for round 2. I think he's very aware of the fact that he been criticised last time, Woodall, against Colin Pitters, and he wants to make up for it. Oh, it's called break there, the referee, but Burton quite rightly ignored it because he wasn't holding. And that's a lesson for Woodall, don't hang the chin out.
The mix up there, though, whether they need a break or not, you have to obey the referee. That was a strange one. A big punch could have finished things there, right? Certainly a mix-up. A lovely uppercut,
yeah, lovely,
a lovely leading punch, Reg, lovely punch.
Oh, he soon made up for that in the second round. Took a good shot himself, Woodall, and they really nailed Burton there. And we get right to he's taking the full count. When I say full count, the 8s, it's not a mandatory, but he did well there, Burton. He took his time, but this will all be over now. I doubt if he'll get up from that. He may do. 5 is right above us. 6, 7. It's all going to be over surely in the second round. It's a good performance by Richie Woodall.
Those are good punches, Reg. Good long, straight right-hand punches there. Burton doing the right thing, just getting a few seconds by, just trying to get his senses back again. Yeah, still some fight left in Burton.
I'll tell you what, he didn't really step back from that, has he? Jim Pritting's got to be a bit sterner with Burton if this keeps up.
Well, for punches to be landing as cleanly and as perfectly as that, Reg, you don't expect the fellow to come up and show aggression. But if he doesn't throw back, no, here he comes back again. Well, he's able to take what Woodall's got anyway.
Oh yeah, he's come to fight all right, Graham Burton.
Because those were perfect punches, Reg. That's the kind of punches you expect to finish fights with.
I like the way Woodall loosened himself up a little bit there. And that's it, it's all over. And quite rightly, he gave him every chance, referee Pritting, and then said, that'll do. And he was quite right in the second round. So it's good prospect, Richie Woodall. It's his first real good exposure that he's had on Fight Night, and I'm sure that it'll get quite a few fans now, the lad from Telford. And certainly with Mickey Duff banging the drum on his behalf, you're going to hear a lot more about him. This is the first knockdown, Jim.
Yeah, good punching, perfect punching from Woodall. Burton in the corner, no place to go. Woodall a little bit late with that last one, probably.
So here's the second knockdown then, Jim. Second knockdown here, Jim.
Yeah, well, Woodall's punches were perfectly delivered. Burton seemed able to take them and come back again, but I think the referee picked the right time to get him out of there. He came back up, attacked after that, but nothing much left.
Here's the finish now, Jim. He manages to stay on his feet just.
That was a good solid shot. That was one of the most solid punches of the fight, although he didn't go over from that. That was a real good punch, and it was time to get him out of there.
And this, of course, is Mickey Duff, Richie Woodall's manager. Good performance that tonight.
Yeah, I was very pleased with him. He did it a little quicker than I expected him to. I felt that Burton was made for him style-wise, but he got to him a little earlier than I thought he would.
It's the sharpest I've seen Woodall since he's become a professional.
Yes, but he's improving all the time. This was his 8th fight, and he's only one has gone the distance. And I think he's certainly a young man of the future, and with all the partiality that I can muster.
It's a good promotional talk, but what was the opponent really like tonight?
The opponent was surprisingly brave. Normally, you know, Brendan Ingles fighters, we have a standing gag about him that when he brings them into the gym, he makes them walk in backwards. They're so attuned to defence, but he did come and try, and he had a fight, and in fairness to him, he put up a good show, but he was out of his league.
What plans have you got for Woodall now?
I've got plans to make him, I think I can safely say this is his last fight as a junior middleweight, and this was originally a junior middleweight contest. They both weighed inside the middleweight limit, but well over the junior middleweight limit. In future, he will box as a middleweight.
What was your assessment of your performance tonight, Richie?
Yeah, I kept well composed, you know. It's part of the game, and people try and wind you up, and that's what he did try tonight. He's a tough lad, but I caught him with a couple of good shots, and he didn't recover from him, really.
You were very sharp tonight.
I was sharp. I had a bit of, I wouldn't say shaky performance last time, but I didn't box to the best of my ability, you know, so I had to put a good one in tonight, and I trained hard, and it all come well nice for me, like, you know.
What do you think of your manager's plans to move you up to middleweight, then?
Well, I think Mickey, it's completely up to Mickey. I can either do light middle or middle. I was 11-4 tonight, which is a middleweight, really. I'm not really bothered. I have all the faith in the world in my manager. I think he's the best in the country.
Rumour has it he knows a bit about the game, actually.
Oh, he knows a fair bit about the game, so I'll just keep whatever he tells me to do, then I'll do. Like.
What about your opponents? Would you be looking for bigger tests in the future?
Obviously bigger tests. I'd like to have a couple of fights where I go the distance, you know. Because that's when the real tests come in. It's all right having quick wins, but you've got to go the distance.
Well, I was very impressed with Richie Woodall tonight, but I'm looking forward to when he has a better class of opponent in future. Well, we're going to take a short break, but coming up, one of the best undercard fights I've seen for quite a while. You'll really enjoy it. Stay with us.